Part 28. Become a sea squirt larva and eat a brain first. Author, Chen Wu Nian. Chapter 271. Countless golden lights condensed into a ball frantically. In the blink of an eye, it became the size of the original Earth, and its size and mass increased rapidly with the immersion of golden light. Chen Mu gradually regained consciousness. After regaining consciousness, Chen Mu had an idea. Why did these guys suddenly attack me? This question emerged in Chen Mu's mind. After thinking about it, Chen Mu figured it out. The other party already has a way to create a planet, and even has a way to create a supergiant weapon the size of a planet, which means that the technological civilization of the planetary civilization of Nanmen II has already reached a terrifying level. With their abilities, an existence like Chen Mu can naturally observe it, and if they can observe it, they will naturally know that Chen Mu will devour all the planets around the star. And the planetary civilization of Nanmen II belongs to life, and life depends on planets to survive. If Chen Mu is allowed to approach Nanmen II, all the planets in the Nanmen II star, including their homes, will inevitably be swallowed up. Then why don't they choose to communicate with themselves first? Such an advanced civilization can only rely on force to solve problems. If their civilization takes the initiative to contact Chen Mu and wants to solve the problem through diplomatic means, then in the early stage, they must know that Chen Mu is alive, and at the same time they must have the means to communicate with this planetary life. Secondly, if their civilization communicates with Chen Mu, it will expose their position and ideas, and lose the opportunity to instantly resolve the battle. Communicating with Chen Mu is a gamble with life, and it is a gamble that puts the outcome of the gamble in Chen Mu's hands. Obviously, this advanced civilization chose not to speak and directly launched an attack because they planned to resolve the battle instantly and put the outcome of the gamble in their own hands. Soon, Chen Mu returned to his original appearance, and all the life in his body recovered at the same time as Chen Mu's body recovered. After Chen Mu returned to his original appearance, he drove his huge body and flew towards the planetary civilization that launched an attack on him. In the distance, a white light shot out again. Boom! The white light hit Chen Mu. However, the second white light instantly spread out along the planet and separated along the atmosphere at the moment of falling. Not to mention penetrating Chen Mu, it couldn't even penetrate the atmosphere. At this moment, the instant adaptability was activated. With the previous experience of being penetrated, the instant adaptability has the ability to adapt to this kind of attack. Chen Mu was very unhappy. You still want to penetrate me, you really have an idea. Chen Mu was very unhappy. For more than 3,000 years, he thought that his heart had already changed its position countless times. During this long time, it had already been like a calm lake without ripples. But now Chen Mu found out that he was wrong, and he would be angry. If you are attacked by a destructive attack for no reason, you can't help but be angry unless you are a true saint. Chen Mu is going to fly over and wipe out that stupid civilization. Another white light hit Chen Mu. But this terrifying attack that is enough to destroy the planet has completely failed on Chen Mu. Chen Mu directly ignored the opponent's attack and flew madly in that direction. The entire body of that artificial planet was transformed into a celestial weapon, and it is impossible for such a weapon to have living creatures. In other words, the place where those lives live must be on a planet in the planetary system between Alpha Centauri A and Alpha Centauri B. On which planet would those damn guys who operated celestial weapons to attack him live? At this time, Chen Mu locked onto one of the planets through the gaze of his super bionic eyes. The planet orbited Alpha Centauri B. The size of the planet was similar to that of the Earth. Blue oceans, white clouds, and green plants could be seen on it. This was a planet with life. With just one glance, Chen Mu locked onto it, because there was no planet in the planetary system of Alpha Centauri A and Alpha Centauri B that could have life compared to this planet. Then it must be it. But even if Chen Mu had the speed of light, his body was too large, so he couldn't use the warp engine to teleport his body there. Therefore, he could only approach slowly at the speed of light. And this takes time. Time passed by, and he saw through his super bionic eyes that disc-shaped flying objects flew out of the planet one after another. Then, Shenmue saw groups of disc-shaped flying objects, surrounding an extremely huge supergiant disc-shaped flying object, flying out of the surface of the planet. Seeing this, Shenmue understood. These guys are planning to abandon their homeland. One attack shattered my entire body. Now that you find that you can't shatter it, you want to run. How can I let you escape? Shenmue, in the form of an angel, took out the warp ball. He turned on the warp engine, and a space-time tunnel appeared in front of Shenmue. Shenmue spread his wings behind him and flew into the space-time tunnel. His figure crossed a long distance and came to the side of the group of disc-shaped flying objects. Standing in the cold space, Shenmue looked at the group of disc-shaped flying objects in front of him. The feeling of looking at these disc-shaped flying objects at a close distance is completely different. The largest main aircraft of the disc aircraft is the incomparably huge steel disc. This thing is too huge. Looking at it from a close distance is like an ant seeing a mountain. Those small aircrafts are called small, but their diameter is more than 30 meters and their height is 10 meters. The aircraft group composed of these huge aircrafts is estimated to carry all the highly intelligent life on the entire planet. Shenmue can see that there is an extremely huge space-time gate in front of this group of aircrafts. That is the space-time gate made of warp engine technology. As long as these aircraft groups pass through this space-time gate, they can escape to a distant place. At this time, Shenmue saw that the door of the aircraft suddenly opened. Some extremely small aircraft flew out from the door. The diameter of this aircraft is 3 meters and the height is 1 meter. There is a disc at the bottom and an oval transparent cover on the top, and the driver can be seen inside. It is a creature with a big head, big eyes, and gray skin. These ultra-small aircraft flew out of the hatch and flew towards Shenmue in groups. There are gun muzzles on both sides of the aircraft, and lasers are fired from the muzzles, and the lasers are fiercely shot at Shenmue. Obviously, they are going to get rid of Shenmue. But when Shenmue saw the appearance of these creatures, he had a hint of novelty in his eyes. Because, they were too similar. In the modern civilization of the original Earth, countless people claim to have seen the so-called UFOs and aliens. They had big heads and big eyes, and the life forms that Shenmue saw in front of him were almost exactly the same as those people described. Could it be that the aliens mentioned by the original Earth civilization were the aliens in the planet Nanman 2? Lasers shot at Shenmue in the form of an angel and hit him directly, but there was no effect at all. All were blocked by instant adaptation. Shenmue no longer thought about it. No matter what these guys were, since they attacked him, it meant that the war had begun. They must die. Become a sea squirt larva and eat a brain first. Author, Shenwu Nian. Chapter 272. Lasers hit Shenmue, but all of them were blocked by Shenmue's ability to adapt to the environment. Shenmue had a thought, and without any action, more than a dozen small combat aircraft surrounding Shenmue, along with the creatures inside, turned into dust and scattered in the universe. This is Shenmue's control ability. With just one thought, all existences smaller than Shenmue will be dismantled. As long as they are smaller than Shenmue's body, this ability can work. Shenmue looked at the aircraft in front. With a wave of his hand, the aircraft in front and the people in the aircraft all turned into dust and dissipated. "Please stop," a voice sounded. This voice went straight into Shenmue's head. When Shenmue heard this voice, his eyebrows stretched slightly. This is not a traditional sound. Traditional sounds are produced by the vibration of matter. Sound cannot be transmitted in a vacuum. This sound is a radio wave. It exists. It transmits what it wants to say to Shenmue directly into Shenmue's brain through radio waves, and then translates it through Shenmue's own system, turning it into the sound that Chenmu hears. After hearing the information from the radio waves, Chenmu did not continue to act, but these aircraft continued to drive towards the direction of the space-time gate. Seeing this, Chenmu glanced at the space-time gate made by the warp engine in the distance. He took out the warp ball, clenched his palm, and the warp ball turned into a transparent screen. He stretched out his hand and operated it. With Chenmu's operation, the space-time gate in the distance disappeared out of thin air. The essence of that space-time gate is actually the channel formed by the warp engine. After Chenmu's study through the system's knowledge base during this period of time, he has acquired a lot of knowledge. Now using the warp ball to connect to the opponent's space-time gate and close the opponent's space-time gate is still easy for him. When the aircraft saw that the time-space gate had disappeared, they stopped flying. After finishing this, Chenmu looked at the group of aircraft in front. At this time, a door suddenly opened in the main aircraft. A small aircraft flew towards Chenmu. Chenmu looked at the small aircraft flying towards him. This small aircraft was relatively small and could only be driven by one life form. The small aircraft was not equipped with any weapons. Chenmu knew that this guy was the one who had just sent radio waves to him. It flew the aircraft in front of Chenmu. Chenmu looked at the life form inside through the transparent cockpit. This life form was grayish-white, with a big head, no hair, a melon seed head, a pair of big black eyes, a slender neck, a body with 4 limbs, slender limbs, and a thin body. The fingers had 3 fingers with octopus-like suction cups on them. It looked at Chenmu. "Who are you?" Chenmu said, "You have been staring at me, don't you know who I am?" Its expression did not change at all, just looked at Chenmu quietly. "Are you the spirit attached to the earth?" According to the earth, the spirit is the soul, which is what the system calls the information library. Chenmu crossed his arms, looked at it, and said, "Well, so you should know why I want to attack you. Since you know, why do you still let me stop? Isn't it a bit meaningless?" For Chenmu, destroying these aircraft in front of him is just a matter of thought. He is not in a hurry, but wants to see what these lives in front of him have to say. It said, "I know you can't stop. With the technology you have, it only takes a moment to destroy us. The reason why I asked you to stop is because I have a question." The voice transmitted by its radio waves is a mechanical sound, without any emotion, fear, or uneasiness. Question. You came from the solar system and devoured all the planets in the solar system? Then you came to the planetary system of Proxima Centauri and devoured all the planets of Proxima Centauri. Now you are coming to Alpha Centauri. It seems that you are also going to devour all the planets in Alpha Centauri. I can't understand what you are doing. I want to know why you want to devour all the planets you encounter. Is it to increase your own size and mass? It looked at Chenmu with its big eyes. What's the point of doing that? Chenmu looked at it and said, I want to evolve. Evolve. Yes, evolve. I understand. Looking at the creature with a big head and big eyes in front of him, Chenmu said, why don't you try to beg me and see if I will forgive you? It looked at Chenmu without saying a word. Hearing this, Chenmu didn't say much. The thought moved. Everything in front of Chenmu, all the aircraft, were directly dismantled by the control ability. All aircraft, including all the creatures in the aircraft. In this instant, everything turned into dust in the sky. Under the gravity of Alpha Centauri and nearby planets, all the dust dispersed and disappeared to the point where it could not be seen by the naked eye. Originally, Chenmu's vision was covered by those metal aircraft, but now it became a vast and empty space in front of him. Looking at the void that became dark and empty again, Chenmu took out the warp ball and opened the door of time and space. With one step, he entered the door of time and space. No matter what kind of life, as long as it has high intelligence, it will deceive. In order to prevent himself from being deceived, Chenmu will look at the other party's information database when talking to the other party. In this way, Chenmu will know what the other party is thinking and what the other party's memory is, and everything about the other party will be in front of Chenmu. It has become Chenmu's habit to spy on other people's information databases. These life forms from Alpha Centauri. Their ancestors did not live in Alpha Centauri. Their ancestors originally lived in Nibiru in the solar system. Later, due to the development of science and technology, the data of Nibiru was consumed in large quantities, and the mass was consumed little by little over the long years. In the end, the gravity of Nibiru was not enough to lock the atmosphere, causing Nibiru to become a planet unsuitable for life. For this reason, most of the Nibiru people moved away from Nibiru and came to Alpha Centauri through the warp engine, finding this planet and living there. When the Nibiru people left the solar system, the Earth in the solar system had not yet adapted to the birth of life. Later, life began to appear on the Earth, and some Nibiru people tried to live on the Earth. Later, the environment of the Earth continued to change, and some life continued to evolve, and humans were born. During this long period of time, the Nibiru people had some contact with humans. Most of the time, the Nibiru people were not very interested in this kind of life with undeveloped intelligence. The Nibiru people were born on Nibiru, where the environment was different from that of the Earth. As the environment of the Earth continued to change, it gradually became unsuitable for the Nibiru people to live. In the end, all the Nibiru people moved to the planetary system on the side of Alpha Centauri. Some time later, the Nibiru people also returned to the Earth to observe the Earth's environment. Unfortunately, the Earth's environment was becoming less and less suitable for the Nibiru people to live. During the observation, they also saw new advanced intelligent life with developed intelligence, humans. At that time, humans called them gods. Most Nibiru people did not intend to have more contact with humans. Of course, some Nibiru people helped humans and taught them some things. Later, the technology of the Nibiru people advanced by leaps and bounds. They could already build artificial planets, so they naturally lost interest in the changes in the Earth's environment, and then they no longer visited the solar system. Until today, when life appeared on Earth, they once again saw the planet they had forgotten. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Become a sea squirt larva and eat a brain first. Author, Chen Wunian. Chapter 273. On the Earth, all life has returned to its original state. What happened to that light just now? Guyin, the woman standing in the corridor, had doubts in her eyes. At the same time, inside the Panga First Army headquarters, Zi-Ren sat on the chair. The intelligence officer next to him said, "The district chief of Area 1 contacted us and said that the entire sky above Area 1 was enveloped in white light just for an instant. A2, A3, B, and C have also sent the same information," an intelligence officer sitting in front of the computer added. Hearing this, Commander-in-Chief Zi-Ren frowned. What on earth is this sudden white light? At this time, another intelligence officer listened to the report coming from the earphone. She frowned and said, "I'm going to answer what Area F said. The people over there said they saw a blast hitting the ground. The earth shattered, and their entire district died." When Zi-Ren heard this, he looked at the intelligence agent and said, "What did you say? Dead?" The intelligence officer said, "Yes, it was the district chief of Area F who said this. He collected information about what people in Area F had seen and concluded that all people in Area F had seen the light and had seen it. The earth cracked and then saw itself melted by the heat of the moment. Currently, all the people in Area F have memories of their own deaths, but they are confused as to why they are still alive now." Zi-Ren frowned. "Commander, that white light comes from space by Ziren's assistant next to him, reminded, during this period, We have launched many satellites. We may gain something by checking the satellite data. When Ziren heard this, he nodded, okay. All the intelligence agents began to look through the satellite monitoring records under Ziren's order. During this period, Ziren notified all the senior officials of Pangu's First Army and the killer whales to gather here. Everyone came to the headquarters and looked at the big screen of the headquarters. A picture is playing on the screen. The picture is from a picture taken by a satellite. At that time, the white light came from distant space and hit the Earth. And this satellite was located beside the Earth, just in time to escape the bombing at that moment. The camera recorded all of this in the satellite. But after the white light hit, the Earth responded violently. The entire satellite was hit by the debris exploded by the Earth, and the picture disappeared instantly. After a while, the picture is restored again. The Earth has returned to its original state. It was as if nothing just happened. Look at the scene in front of you. Everyone on the field was stunned, except of course the killer whale. Ziren said, I just got the information, which came from the district heads of each district. It's interesting. The reports from the 3 districts ABC said that their people saw white light all over the sky, but the people in District F said that they saw white light all over the sky. When the white light hit the Earth cracked, and they were melted by the high temperature, but they found that they had the memory of death, but they did not die or resurrect. At first, I didn't know why until I saw this. 3 areas like A, B, and C happened to be completely covered by white light. When people were hit, they only had time to see the white light all over the sky before they died, so there was only white light in their memory. After resurrection, we thought it was just a time of heaven and earth. It's just a vision. And the F zone is outside the white light, so they can see the white light and feel death. Having said this, Ziren paused and looked at the people in front of the conference table. You mean, we all died once just now? The woman who spoke was the woman in black. She looked at Ziren with disbelief on her face. It's not that she couldn't believe it, other senior executives who heard this looked in disbelief. It turns out that we have already died once without knowing it. What is going on? How could this happen? Where did that white light come from? Who attacked us? Also, we are already dead, so how can we still be alive? Why are we coming back from the dead? What is going on? They were all in confusion and disbelief. To get answers to these questions, I think I can only ask one person, Ziren said slowly. He looked at a girl with dragon horns in front of the conference table. Others noticed Ziren's expression, and they all looked at the dragon-horned girl killer whale. The killer whale looked at them and noticed the looks from all around. She smiled happily. If he could see your growth now, he would definitely be very happy. The killer whale paid attention to the inquiries from people around her. She said, there are some things that are not suitable for me to say. Now you have grown, and this growth is the power that technology brings to you. At present, this power can help you understand what is going on in outer space, what happened, but these things are understood. Having said this, she paused, looked at everyone and said, with your current technology, you can only observe. If you want to influence or change, it is far from possible. Why do you say that? The woman in black looked at the killer whale and said, we respect you very much. It was you who helped us and allowed our technology to grow. But now we can expel Tarvin and build giant mecha, artificial intelligence, and launching satellites. We are already powerful enough. The killer whale smiled and said, do you think you can deal with an advanced civilization that can destroy a giant planet in an instant? Everyone in the conference room was stunned when the killer whale said this. The killer whale said, that white light came from an advanced civilization in space. Everyone in the room was stunned when they heard this. What a tiny civilization the current Earth civilization is. If one day, the Earth civilization really encounters an advanced civilization, and that civilization intends to launch a powerful attack on the Earth that is enough to destroy the planet, can the Earth civilization resist? Obviously, it cannot resist. The Earth is where life depends on for survival. It only takes a white light to pass through the Earth, and the life on the Earth will disappear without a trace. The current Earth civilization is too weak. Only powerful technology can make the Earth grow and become stronger. And what happened to the Nibiru people and the Earth at present, whether humans know it or not, is irrelevant, because they can't change anything. Advanced civilization is an adult, and low-level civilization is like a baby. Babies cannot control the behavior of adults, but adults can easily take away everything from babies. However, the killer whale is very pleased, because the growth of technology has given humans ears and eyes, allowing them to see more things, and not be stupid and ignorant like before. Become a sea squirt larva and eat a brain first. Author, Chen Wunian. Chapter 274. Time passed quickly. Finally 2 months later, Chen Mu came to Nanmen 2A and B, where the 2 stars were located. It took him another half-month to swallow all the planets near these 2 stars. However, even so, his current evolutionary progress has finally reached 20%. But that's only 20%. Too little. Chen Mu was not satisfied at all. There is so much evolutionary progress required for this evolution. Chen Mu has devoured 4 planetary systems, but only has 20% of the evolutionary progress. This progress is too little, terrifyingly little. At this speed, I don't know how many years it will take before we can evolve again. By the way, Chen Mu said, my swallowing ability is based on body size. The more material there is, the more evolutionary energy I gain. Then, can I go directly to swallow the black hole? This is a question. A black hole is an existence with infinitely small volume, infinite density, and infinite gravity. As for his own swallowing ability, he can directly swallow beings smaller than himself. Can he directly swallow a black hole? Chen Mu couldn't get an answer to this kind of question, so he asked the system, can I swallow a black hole? The system quickly gave Chen Mu the answer, yes. Chen Mu's heart trembled slightly and he was a little excited. If it can really be done, how much evolutionary progress can be gained by swallowing a black hole? But then I thought about it. This system always answers half of the questions. Could it be that this time it only gave half the answer? Chen Mu has the ability to adapt instantly. Even if he is close to a black hole, he will not be torn apart by the gravity of the black hole. Black holes are infinitely small. Judging from Chen Mu's current abilities, theoretically, he should be able to swallow black holes. But the problem is that black holes are an existence beyond common sense and cognition. Can this kind of existence really be swallowed? Chen Mu said, I remember that there is a black hole at the center of the Milky Way. Can I swallow the black hole at the center of the galaxy? Okay, the system once again answered Chen Mu in that mechanical voice. Hear this answer. Chen Mu was moved. Of course, it is impossible to go to the black hole at the center of the galaxy and let your own body pass by. But if it is not the original body, the incarnation will not be able to obtain evolutionary energy if it swallows the black hole in the center of the galaxy. Of course, this is not difficult. On the grasslands of the Earth, countless materials on the ground are unable to be controlled. After being extracted, the matter began to form a body above the grassland. Bones, muscles, nerves, blood, and skin appear first. Slowly, a complete body appeared on the grassland. That body was exactly what Chen Mu looked like. Chen Mu slowly opened his eyes. He raised his hand and looked at his own hand. In this way, this body becomes my true body. If I use this body to swallow the black hole in the center of the galaxy to obtain evolutionary energy, you can instantly fill up the evolution progress and proceed to the next evolution, right? Thinking of this, Chen Mu felt inexplicably excited. A sphere flew from the sky above. Chen Mu stretched out his hand and took the ball. This was the warp ball. Chen Mu activated the warp ball. The warp ball was opened, and a screen appeared in front of Chen Mu. Chen Mu said, "The target location is the black hole in the center of the Milky Way. Searching for target, successful search." Accompanied by a mechanical sound. The warp ball transforms into an engine gun. Chen Mu stretched out his hand, took the engine gun, and pointed it forward. Pull the trigger. After the trigger is pulled, a door to time and space opens directly. After opening it, Chen Mu stepped into the door of time and space. Chen Mu passed through the gate of time and space and came to the center of the Milky Way, where the black hole is located. Chen Mu appeared in space. Once inside, Chen Mu felt his eyes light up. Chen Mu saw a scorching flame burning in front of his eyes. Below Chen Mu, there is a fierce sea of fire. The sea of fire is orange-yellow, just like the surface of the sun, but this thing is somewhat different from the surface of the sun, because the sea of fire is right below Chen Mu. It looks amazing. What is this? Chen Mu was confused. Didn't you say that it was teleported to the location of the black hole in the center of the galaxy? Chen Mu looked around, and with doubts, he opened his consciousness. The moment Chen Mu opened his consciousness, Chen Mu was shocked. At this moment, Chen Mu finally knew what the sea of fire beneath his feet was. A black hole spins, and when it spins, it absorbs nearby matter, which is pulled by the black hole's gravity. Because the rotation of the black hole is very crazy, the matter that enters the black hole in a spiral shape. Because of the terrifying gravity of the black hole, it absorbs so much matter that it looks like a disk surrounding the black hole from a distance. We call this disk an accretion disk. Under that terrifying gravity, the absorbed matter squeezes each other, and due to the excessive pressure, nuclear fusion forms, emitting bright light outside the black hole. What Chen Mu sees now through his conscious vision is a red disk-like halo surrounding a dark celestial body. The sea of fire that Chen Mu saw was the accretion disk of this black hole. This celestial body is extremely huge. Chen Mu did not see it with his naked eyes. He could not see the whole picture of this celestial body with his naked eyes. He used his consciousness vision. The radius of Chen Mu's consciousness vision is as high as 5 million kilometers, but this celestial body directly occupies Chen Mu's entire consciousness vision, and Chen Mu can only see part of it. This is the Milky Way black hole. According to the calculations of some scientists, the diameter of the Milky Way black hole's horizon is 44 million kilometers. With such a terrifying volume, Chen Mu's consciousness vision can't see its whole picture at all. This is the Milky Way black hole, the most terrifying and powerful existence in the Milky Way. This is the first time that Chen Mu has seen such a huge Milky Way black hole. Is there a way to swallow this thing? Is there a way to absorb it? The answer given by the system is that it can swallow it. In other words, the ability to adapt instantly can adapt to its gravity. Thinking of this, Chen Mu controlled his body through his control ability and flew towards the horizon of the Milky Way black hole. Suddenly, Chen Mu felt a strong gravitational force coming towards him. The moment he felt the gravity, Chen Mu was stunned. What about the ability to adapt instantly? The force came suddenly, and Chen Mu's body was pulled into the black hole at an extremely terrifying speed. At this moment, Chen Mu's whole body was directly torn apart by the black hole. After this moment, Chen Mu realized one thing. Yes, instant adaptation takes time, even if it is an instant, it still takes time, and the terrifying gravity generated by the black hole tore that instant. Sure enough, it's not that simple, a pit B system. However, what Chen Mu saw at this moment was another scene. He just felt that everything in front of him had changed. Chen Mu entered a space. Chen Mu was flying in the air. He subconsciously raised his hand, but found that he had no hands and no body. He raised his head, and what he saw was countless memory fragments. These fragments were like other people's memory banks, hanging in front of Chen Mu, one picture after another, connected in front of Chen Mu. Those pictures were exactly what Chen Mu had experienced before. Suddenly, Chen Mu's heart moved. No, Chen Mu also saw something he had never experienced before. He looked at the strange memory picture and blinked. Is this what will happen in the future? Become a sea squirt larva and eat a brain first. Author, Chen Wunian. Chapter 275. Chen Mu noticed that there were so many and so dense fragments of images in front of him. If you look closely, you will find that these are all things that Chen Mu has experienced since he was a child, and even things that will happen in the future are all in these fragments. These fragments are like film used for photography. Through these frames of images, they are combined into one fragment after another, and these fragments are placed in front of Chen Mu. The appearance of these fragments gave Chen Mu a strange feeling. What is this? Could it be that I am just a part of the video, and my life is just someone else's movie? It is just a movie composed of films made by others. The movies we see are actually composed of frames of pictures, which is what we commonly call films, and countless frames of fragments make up fragments, and fragments make up movies. If time does not move, we can see one of the frames, a frozen picture. Because time continues, each frame will be connected together to form the movie we see. Could it be that I am also a movie? System, what is this? Chen Mu said lightly as he looked at the fragments in front of him. The system answered Chen Mu in a mechanical voice, this is a four-dimensional space, a dimensional space with time added. Chen Mu was slightly startled. Chen Mu knew something about the concept of dimension. One-dimensional space is a line, only long, no width or height. Two-dimensional space is a surface, with length and width, but no height. Three-dimensional space is the dimensional space of our reality, with length, width, and height. In fact, the space we are in already contains all dimensions, just like ants. Ants live in the same space as us humans, but they can only perceive two-dimensional space. They don't know what height is. In their eyes, the whole world is flat, and there is no height. Humans are the same. Humans live in a multi-dimensional space, but they can't perceive it. Humans can only perceive three-dimensional space. What Chen Mu saw in front of him was a brand new dimension, time. Time includes everything in life. These frames of pictures are connected into one piece, and what spreads out behind Chen Mu is Chen Mu's past, and what is in front of Chen Mu is Chen Mu's future. Didn't I enter the black hole at the center of the Milky Way? How did I suddenly come here? Under the gravitational force of the black hole at the center of the Milky Way, your speed exceeded the speed of light and broke through the three-dimensional limit. Chen Mu said, then how do you go back? You have always been in the same place. The mechanical voice of the system sounded slowly. When the system said this, Chen Mu's heart trembled. He hurriedly opened his consciousness vision. The consciousness vision expanded. The picture in front of him made Chen Mu stunned. Through the consciousness vision, Chen Mu found that he did not leave the previous place, but was always in the previous place. At this moment, he was in the black hole at the center of the Milky Way. It's just that the accretion disk formed around the black hole at the center of the Milky Way is now in a static state, and everything in the entire universe is all static. Time is frozen at this moment. Four-dimensional space is not another space. He is where we are, and where we are is the four-dimensional space, but we can't perceive it. Chen Mu's speed broke through the speed of light because of the gravitational force of the black hole. At that moment, time had no meaning. He can see the existence of the time dimension. At this time, Chen Mu saw that the world that had been still before began to slowly turn again. Suddenly, the golden light began to light up again. Those lights began to condense in the center of the Milky Way black hole. Finally, a body was formed, which was Chen Mu's body. Chen Mu came back to his senses, and he could feel that he was wrapped in darkness. He subconsciously raised his hand and subconsciously wanted to see, but he could not see his hand. The body is back, and time has begun to flow again. The gravity of the black hole has no effect on me now, that is, the rapid self-healing and instant adaptation work together. It's just that in the Milky Way black hole, he can't see anything, including his own body. He can't see it. In this Milky Way black hole that is enough to swallow any light source, the naked eye is like a blind person. Of course, this is not difficult for Chen Mu. Chen Mu said, "System, adjust the consciousness field of vision and color the matter. I need to find the location of the Milky Way black hole. The reason why people can see matter is that matter can reflect light source, and light source enters the eyes, so we can see matter. When light is lost, it is naturally impossible to see the existence of matter. But Chen Mu's conscious vision is not the same as the naked eye, and does not need light to obtain the appearance of matter. Of course, under normal circumstances, the conscious vision also relies on the color of light to allow Chen Mu to observe matter, but Chen Mu can let the system adjust the conscious vision. Actively add color to these substances. This is some ability to use knowledge that Chen Mu has acquired through knowledge-based learning in the past 2 boring years. Color is directly dyed. Everything that can be seen in the conscious vision has changed its appearance. The black hole reveals its appearance. The horizon boundary disappears. Under the observation of the conscious vision, a huge white vortex can be seen in the middle of the black hole. There is a very, very bright light spot in the center of the vortex. Under normal circumstances, black holes are completely colorless, let alone photoelectricity. This is the picture that Chen Mu saw through his conscious vision, which is different from reality. Chen Mu used his control ability to control his body and flew towards the extremely bright light spot. The vortex around the light spot was spinning wildly, absorbing matter from all directions. Is this light spot in front of him the singularity? Chen Mu looked at the singularity in front of him. The volume of the singularity is infinitely small. You think that the existence in the world is quarks, but the black hole singularity is smaller than quarks. It is smaller than everything in the world. Chen Mu's conscious vision is like a filter, adding color to the location of the singularity. The white light is emitted by the terrifying matter concentrated at the singularity. But these substances have been crushed under the gravitational force of the singularity, more broken than atoms. They are absorbed by the singularity and become part of the singularity. The picture that Chen Mu saw through his conscious vision is like a miniature galaxy, which looks incredible. Chen Mu's body stopped in front of the singularity. Looking at the singularity in front of him, he stretched out his hand. Compared to the singularity, Chen Mu's palm was much larger. He stretched out his hand and placed it under the singularity, as if holding it. This is the galactic center black hole, the center of the Milky Way, and the center of the Milky Way is in my hand at this moment. So, can I swallow it? Chen Mu's body turned into a golden light, and his whole body turned golden. He closed his hands and held the singularity in his hands. Swallow. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Become a sea squirt larva and eat a brain first. Author, Chen Wunian. Chapter 276. It is gaining evolutionary energy, and the current evolutionary energy progress is 21%, 22%, 30%, 40%. At this moment, except for the mechanical sound coming from the system, Chen Mu could not hear any other movement. The system prompts quickly. It didn't take long. A familiar voice sounded in Chen Mu's mind again. Congratulations, you have successfully obtained 100% of the evolutionary energy progress and started the next evolution. Wait a minute. Before the system could start, Chen Mu interrupted the evolution. Chen Mu said, leave the earth behind. Although the farm that I have been building for so long has not played any role, it cannot be destroyed just like that. It is better to keep it. On the contrary, now that the earth is my incarnation, it doesn't matter if I keep it. Received the request, left the original body and began to evolve. The system's voice sounded. Chen Mu's consciousness disappeared instantly. I don't know how much time has passed. Chen Mu's consciousness returned. Chen Mu came to his senses. He subconsciously wanted to open his eyes, but found that he had no eyes to open. He opens the horizons of consciousness. The moment Chen Mu opened his consciousness, he felt a strong light. But when Chen Mu saw his body, he immediately became happy. That's what it is. An extremely bright star appeared in Chen Mu's field of vision. This star emitted bright light and was radiant. The light emitted by the entire star is very bright, even brighter than the sun. The star that Chen Mu saw in his conscious vision was a yellow dwarf star. Before, when Chen Mu was a planet, he had already thought about what he would become in his next evolution. Above the planets are stars. This time it did not surprise Chen Mu. But, Chen Mu was a little unsatisfied. He has swallowed the black hole in the center of the Milky Way. With such a huge mass, will he only evolve into a yellow dwarf? No, the galactic center black hole has such a huge mass. If I swallow it like this, it is probably enough for me to evolve n times. How can I only evolve into a yellow dwarf? Thinking of this, Chen Mu asked the system, the galactic center black hole has already have you been swallowed whole by me? The system replied, no. Really? Just as Chen Mu guessed, after his evolutionary energy progress was full, he had evolved, and the black hole in the center of the galaxy was not completely swallowed. After all, Chen Mu's evolutionary energy progress did not require such a huge amount of energy. Chen Mu's eyes fell on him, and he began to look at his new body. The sun is younger than what Chen Mu knew. The sun in the solar system is also a yellow dwarf star, but the sun has lived for 5 billion years. Stars have a lifespan. In terms of lifespan, the sun is currently in middle age. The light emitted by middle-aged stars is very soft and there is less stellar activity. The star that Chen Mu evolved from now is a very young star. Its light is very bright, the flames caused by nuclear fusion are erupting on the surface, and various stellar activities are very intense. At this time, Chen Mu noticed that his field of consciousness was much larger than when he was a planet. He could see his surroundings, and he could see a familiar planet orbiting around him. Is that Earth? Congratulations on your successful evolution. You have received evolution rewards and all your abilities have been upgraded. Congratulations on your successful evolution, you have received the evolution reward, gravitational waves. Chen Mu didn't think much about the first reward, but after hearing the second reward, Chen Mu was a little stunned. Gravitational waves? What we know about gravity is essentially gravitational waves. When an object has a huge mass, its existence will distort the space. When the space is distorted, the things next to it will be pulled toward the material by the distorted force. This is a gravitational wave. The simplest and most popular understanding is to take a piece of cloth and stick a basketball and a ping-pong ball on the cloth. Press the basketball down and press the flat cloth down. Then the ping-pong ball will get closer and closer to the basketball until it is completely close, touching the basketball. This is gravitational waves, also known as another explanation of gravity, gravitational waves. Previously, Chen Mu had phenomenon control. This ability could control many phenomena, including gravity, but he needed the phenomenon to exist before he could use it. But with this gravitational wave, it means that Chen Mu can directly create this phenomenon. Chen Mu looked around through his conscious field of vision. Although Chen Mu's conscious field of vision has become very large through upgrading, with an estimated distance of 50 million kilometers, it is still very small in this extremely empty universe. Chen Mu still couldn't see other celestial bodies, except of course the planet orbiting Chen Mu, the Earth. Chen Mu wanted to try it out to see the effect of this new ability. Thinking of this, Chen Mu turned into an angel form. Start atomic creation, build warp balls. Constructing. Rays of blue light appeared in front of Chen Mu, and with the appearance of the light, a warp ball was quickly constructed in front of him. The warp ball that originally took 3 months to construct was constructed in just a few seconds. The upgraded atomic creation is completely incomparable to before. Chen Mu raised his hand, and the warp ball fell into his hand. He turned on the warp ball. A huge star stood in the void. This was a yellow dwarf star with a mass similar to Chen Mu's. The space-time gate opened, and Chen Mu emerged from the space-time gate. He looked at the yellow dwarf star in front of him, and a thought came to his mind. The gravitational wave directly acted on the target star. At the moment when the gravitational wave was used, the star that was still spitting out flames suddenly shrank at this moment. Boom! Accompanied by a loud bang. The whole star exploded. The bright light splashed, and the entire planetary system was illuminated. Seeing the bright world in front of him, looking at the star that was instantly destroyed by himself, Chen Mu's eyes reflected the light. The mass of the star in front of him was even greater than that of the sun, and now only a thought was needed, and such a huge star collapsed and exploded directly. Chen Mu raised his hand and looked at his hand. Is this the new ability I have gained after evolving into a star? Stars were not originally stars. Before they became stars, they were just celestial bodies with huge mass. When the mass is too large, the hydrogen elements in the body cannot withstand the temperature and pressure, which leads to nuclear fusion. The explosive force generated by these nuclear fusions directly ignites the entire celestial body and turns it into a star. After ignition, the mass will be stretched out, which will not cause collapse. But when Chen Mu used gravitational waves in the body of that star, he directly injected the gravitational waves of a star into the body of another star. The other party was subjected to 2 terrifying gravitational forces, and the power of nuclear fusion was not enough to resist the twice terrifying gravitational force, and was directly crushed and collapsed. A star exploded. Become a sea squirt larva and eat a brain first. Author, Chen Wunian. Chapter 277. After feeling the power brought by the new ability, Chen Mu chose to calm himself down first. Too many things happened during this period of time, and he needed to sort out the current situation first. So, Chen Mu returned to his body first. Chen Mu looked at his huge body, and then looked at the only planet orbiting around him, the Earth. When Chen Mu was the Earth, the moon orbiting him was also recognized by the system as part of the Earth. Now that he has become a star, the Earth has become a planet orbiting around him. In other words, now the Earth is also a part of him. Chen Mu subconsciously glanced at the Earth, but when he saw the Earth, he was slightly startled. At this moment, the Earth in front of Chen Mu was somewhat different from the Earth that Chen Mu knew before. There is a huge ring around the outside of the Earth. This ring is like a planetary ring, but unlike a planetary ring, this is an artificial planetary ring. The entire planetary ring surrounds the entire Earth. This planetary ring is of course made of steel machinery, and its thickness is 1/5 of the radius of the Earth. It surrounds the Earth and rotates slowly. Seeing this planetary ring, Chen Mu was suddenly a little curious. What is this? The system gave an explanation. This is a planetary transformation ring. It can create a planetary magnetic field, increase or decrease light sources, and resist various external radiation. This planetary transformation ring was obviously created by creatures in the Earth civilization. But the question is, who would create this thing? As far as Chen Mu knows, when he last observed the Earth civilization, the impact of the entire civilization on space was just launching a few rockets and creating satellites, but now it can create planetary rings outside the Earth, which is too fast. Wait a minute. Could it be? Chen Mu said, System, how long has it been since I swallowed the Milky Way black hole? According to the Earth's time, it has been 237 years and 7 months. The system gave the answer. Sure enough. In this way, Chen Mu can know why this happened. After so many years, it is not surprising that the Earth civilization can develop to this level with the help of angels, Eastern dragons, and mechanical races. Chen Mu's conscious vision passed through the Earth's atmosphere and came to the sky above the Earth. Through the sky, he looked at the Earth in front of him. Cities can be seen on the ground of Pangu continent. But the Pangu continent in front of him is no longer the Pangu continent that Chen Mu saw before. In the middle of this Pangu continent, there is a high-tech pyramid. This pyramid is soaring into the clouds, with a height of nearly 10,000 meters, and it goes straight into the clouds. In other places in Pangu continent, there are also cities surrounded by circular high walls. In the center of the city, surrounded by metal high walls, there is a towering pyramid, but it is smaller than the building in the middle of the continent, with a height of only 1/3. Then in each city, in addition to the pyramid in the middle, there are also pyramids erected in various places, and each city has 7 such pyramids. Seeing the strange distribution of Pangu continent in front of him, Chen Mu suddenly became interested. Ancestor. Suddenly, a voice sounded in Chen Mu's mind. Hearing this voice, Chen Mu came back to his senses. He looked towards the source of the voice and saw a familiar figure standing on the right side of Chen Mu. She flapped her wings, wearing silver armor, and looked at Chen Mu respectfully. She was the angel Lve. Looking at her expression, Chen Mu was slightly stunned. You saw me? Chen Mu was a little surprised. Because Chen Mu was using his conscious vision at the moment, his body did not come over, he was just using his conscious vision to observe the Earth in front of him. In other words, from the outside world's point of view, there should be nothing at the location where Chen Mu's conscious vision is at the moment. For Lve, it should be the same. When Lve heard this, she smiled. Her blue eyes were shining, and a body made of blue energy was reflected in them. She said, yes, Lve used the knowledge base given by the ancestor to study a lot of scientific and technological knowledge in the past few hundred years, including knowledge about consciousness. In order to see the consciousness, Lve strengthened her own genes and gave herself eyes that can see the consciousness. So, Lve can see the consciousness of the ancestor. Consciousness. Now Chen Mu understood. Before, Chen Mu didn't know the principle of consciousness vision, and he didn't think much about it. Now after hearing it, Chen Mu realized that it was like this. The so-called consciousness vision is to observe everything by using the consciousness. No wonder it can be observed from all angles. Chen Mu looked at Pangu continent and said, what are those tall buildings that look like pyramids? Ancestor, that's a teleportation tower. Lve smiled and said, under our guidance, these life forms learned to collect solar energy and also mastered the knowledge of warp engines. They combined solar energy, warp engines, and buildings to create these teleportation towers. There are many time and space gates in the teleportation tower, but each time the time and space gate is teleported, it takes energy to open it. The teleportation tower will collect solar energy to supply the time-space gate in the pyramid. In this way, people in the entire Pangu continent can now use this teleportation gate to travel to any city in a few seconds. Pyramid teleportation gate? Chen Mu nodded slightly and looked up at the sky. In the sky, you can see that the huge planetary transformation ring covers 1/5 of the sky, which looks a bit shocking. Chen Mu said, did they make that thing, too? Yes, Lve said, more than 200 years ago, the help that the instant adaptability gave to the planet gradually disappeared, and the advanced life on the planet began to be unable to withstand the huge gravity of the planet. For this reason, the advanced life began to use technology and war mechas. Later, the Earth was captured by a nearby star, but that star was too active and erupted a lot of stellar activities, which had a great impact on the surface of the planet. They realized that if they continued, all life on the planet would perish, so they began to study ways to change the planetary environment, and finally developed this planet transformation ring. Speaking of this, she looked at Chenmu and said, "The planet transformation ring has been in operation for 3 years. If there are no other problems, this planet transformation ring can be used on other discovered planets. Even planets without life can be transformed into places where life can live. I want to leave the planetary system and travel between planetary systems. It will be possible soon." Hearing this, Chenmu nodded slightly. He looked towards Lvi, only to find that Lvi was looking at Chenmu with her blue eyes, her eyes full of anticipation, just like a child waiting for praise from an adult. Become a sea squirt larva and eat a brain first. Author, Chen Wunian. Chapter 278. Chenmu said, "You did a good job. Thank you for your hard work." When Lvi heard this, she smiled and looked a little more joyful. She had worked hard for more than 200 years, and hearing the praise from the ancestor was enough to make her happy. Chenmu looked at the world below. He had a doubt. Lvi said that during this period, the effect of instant adaptation ability was decreasing, but why was it decreasing? Chenmu did not change the instant adaptation. Could it be that after he evolved into a star, some changes occurred in the instant adaptation, which affected the Earth planet? I guess so. Chenmu looked at the planet under his feet. He planned to enter this planet to see what this world has become after these 2 centuries under the influence of the knowledge brought by the knowledge base. On the other side, on the suspended racing track, 7 magnetic levitation racing cars rushed past one after another. The audience in the audience watched the dazzling racing cars speeding past on the big screen, and they screamed in surprise. "Red Dragon, long live! Red Dragon is number 1. This time, Red Dragon must be number 1 again. Great, I love Red Dragon to death." Almost everyone's eyes were focused on the car called Red Dragon, but almost no one would pay attention to the car in the last place. The current 7 maglev cars are named Shu, and its driver is named Ye. This is Ye, who is participating in this kind of competition this time. He sat in the driver's seat, operating the operating console in front of him. He was wearing a helmet and looking at the windshield in front of him. Through the windshield, he could see the opponents who were far ahead in front. He gritted his teeth. Highly intelligent life is not a machine. They have emotions and thoughts, and emotions can be positive or negative. Positive emotions can make people feel high, but negative emotions, if they reach the limit, can lead to depression or even death. So, this leads to their need for some entertainment. In the past, the war between the current Earth civilization and the Tal civilization caused no one to pay attention to personal emotions, and everyone was struggling on the line of life and death, but since the Tal civilization withdrew, the original Earth civilization began to develop normally. Many technologies have been integrated into life, and the racing competition created by this magnetic levitation technology has also become a pastime for people. For people, this competition is a pastime. But for Ye, this competition is everything to him. Ye has been exposed to racing competitions since he was born, but Ye is of humble status and is just a very ordinary existence among the public. However, it is basically impossible to own a magnetic levitation racing car and participate in this kind of competition. In order to get this right, Ye paid too much. And now someone is finally willing to pay money to sponsor him to participate in this competition, but that person has a requirement to enter the top 3. The requirement is to enter the top 3. If he cannot enter, he will give up continuing to sponsor him and ask him to give up racing completely. Thinking of this, Ye looked ahead, the 6 opponents who were getting farther and farther away. If he continues like this now, he will be finished. Ye gritted his teeth and looked at a button on the car. That button can start an engine, which was developed by Ye himself. Nuclear fission energy engine. This engine is equipped with a small nuclear fission reactor. When this reactor is started, it will cause nuclear fission and produce terrifying energy. These energies can bring extremely terrifying power to your racing car. But this engine is not stable yet. This thing cannot be put into use yet. But now Ye can only gamble. Ye gritted his teeth, clenched his fist, and punched the button. In an instant, the 5 engine ports behind the racing car sprayed out terrifying and hot white light. In an instant, the racing car instantly sprayed out at an extremely fast speed. Ye felt a strong force rushing from the front, and his whole body fell backwards. He leaned against his back, holding the steering wheel tightly with both hands, and the back of his hands leaned against the back of the chair behind him, feeling a strong sense of push. From the outside, the racing tree that was despised by everyone was surpassing the 6 opponents in front at an extremely terrifying speed, and was flying towards the finish line at a high speed. The racer in the Red Dragon driver's seat looked at the scene in front of him, and his somewhat complacent smile froze on his face. The other 5 racers were also stunned. The other audiences looked at everything on the screen, and everyone looked stunned. Overtaken. So fast. You can even see the exhaust of that car on this screen. What is this? That's a tree, the racer Yes car. The audience started to make noise when they saw this scene. Look, he crossed the finish line. Wow. The whole audience was boiling. Why didn't he stop and slow down? Suddenly, someone shouted. Sure enough, on the racetrack, the high-speed maglev car surpassed its opponent and instantly passed the finish line, but after rushing through the finish line, the maglev car did not stop, but rushed forward directly. Under the shocked gaze of everyone, the car directly hit the railing of the runway, breaking the railing directly, and the whole car went off the track and flew outside. You know, this is a special racetrack. The entire racetrack is located on the top of a 100-story building. The racetrack is located above the racetrack, built on a high-altitude magnetic levitation track. At this moment, the finish track is located on the edge of the building. When the car driven by Ye left the track, the whole person rushed out with the car. The car flew into the air. Ye looked at the ground below the 100-story building through the windshield. His pupils trembled and his eyes were full of despair. The audience was silent. Everyone knew that the racing car Ye was dead. The car fell directly from a high altitude and hit the ground. Boom! Accompanied by a loud bang. The car exploded, and at the moment of the explosion, the nuclear fission reactor loaded in the car engine also exploded directly. Boom! Accompanied by a loud bang. The flames engulfed the entire building. Including the audience, the people in the audience were engulfed by the flames before they even had time to think about what happened. A mushroom cloud slowly rose. The entire 100-story building was directly vaporized, leaving only a pit. At this moment, the golden light began to condense. Slowly, the golden light turned into a body. If there were still people alive at this moment, they would recognize that this was the racer Ye just now. Ye stood beside the pit. He looked at the pit beside him and said, "Technology is too advanced, and it doesn't look like a good thing." After saying this, Ye's eyes were a little indifferent. This person was not Ye, but Chen Mu. Chen Mu randomly threw his consciousness into a person on the earth. After obtaining Ye's body, he also obtained Ye's information database. Through the information database, he also understood what had just happened. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Become a sea squirt larva and eat a brain first. Author, Chen Wunian. Chapter 279. Chen Mu raised his hands and looked at them, and found that they were very slender. Through the information database, Chen Mu knew that the owner of this body was called Ye, who was born in an elf family. His mother was an elf and his father was a human. Ye was a fairy. In the past, due to the barrier of mountains, civilization was divided into Eastern civilization and Western civilization. Now the mountains have disappeared under the influence of technology. Eastern and Western cultures have been integrated. Now in the entire Earth civilization, all races live together. Although there are racial differences, there is no barrier between them as in ancient times. Things like human and elf marriages are not strange, and can even be said to be very common. Ye is a fairy, but he is just an ordinary fairy, powerless and ordinary. He is just an ordinary existence. However, Ye is smart, and with the proliferation of scientific and technological knowledge in this era, Ye uses his knowledge to combine nuclear fission reactors with racing engines. However, it is obvious that with Ye's own engine research, there is no way to stabilize the nuclear fission reactor, which eventually led to death. This guy, in order to pursue the dream of racing, he finally lost his life. Chen Mu said, "How stupid. Pursuing dreams, and even falling into life for dreams, this is very great, but in the eyes of rational people, it is too stupid to understand. For Chen Mu, that is stupid. If you can't catch up with your dream this time, you can wait for the next time. Why risk your life? This is too stupid." Chen Mu left the racetrack, entered the city, and looked at the city. Chen Mu found that everyone walking on the streets of the city was a handsome man or a beautiful woman. No matter their figure or appearance, they are impeccable. This is genetic technology. People use the power of technology to change their genes, and by changing genes, they change their figure and appearance. The pursuit of beauty is the commonality of all things. In the peaceful years without war, technology is no longer limited to the military, but begins to spread to various fields. This is a kind of science and technology that changes genes, which is developed by genetic technology. Chen Mu raised his head and looked at the sky. In the sky, there are magnetic levitation roads hanging high in the sky. People drove maglev racing cars, shuttling back and forth on those maglev roads. This speed is much faster than the highway. The transmission tower can be transmitted to other transmission towers, which can shorten the distance, but there are still roads between the transmission towers, and these roads require other means of transportation. And the maglev road is one of these means of transportation. The maglev road is different from the roads we know. This maglev road is built in the air, and each maglev road can only accommodate one maglev car. The magnetic force of the maglev road will limit the range of activities of the maglev car, so that it will never derail due to inertia. A long time ago, the Earth used roads and cars, but because of the drivers and various inertia caused many traffic accidents, so the speed limit was mostly 120 km per hour. This maglev car does not need to consider this problem. The speed of the maglev car can reach 500 km per hour. Chen Mu retracted his sight and looked at the high-tech floors standing there. It's really good to have developed to this point in 2 centuries compared with the past. Those humans regarded nanorobots as spiritual energy, meaninglessly pursued meaningless power, and developed for more than 3,000 years without knowing anything. It's tens of thousands of times better. Yes, suddenly, a voice came. Hearing this voice, Chen Mu came back to his senses. He looked at the source of the voice and saw a man walking over there. He looked at Chen Mu, squinting his eyes, looking at Chen Mu from top to bottom, and then crossed his arms. "Didn't you go to participate in the car race? Why are you here?" According to Ye's memory, Chen Mu recognized this person. This man is Lan Li, Ye's classmate, and also a loan shark. Ye didn't have money to assemble the car, so before he met the sponsor at the beginning, in order to own his own car, he borrowed money from the man in front of him. So, this man is also Lan Li's creditor. Chen Mu didn't expect that he would actually meet this guy. Lanli looked at Chen Mu with an unfriendly look. He said, "You said before that after you participate in the race today, you will pay me back the money you owe me with the prize money. Now you didn't participate. What do you mean? Money is the currency of this world. In the process of social development, the emergence of currency is inevitable. No matter what kind of highly intelligent life, unless all individuals have a unified consciousness, there will be a demand for individual consciousness. If there is no currency, there are 4 ways to get things: steal, rob, give or exchange goods for goods. Obviously, these 4 methods are very unreliable, so currency is bound to appear. Even in the current high-tech era, the existence of currency is indispensable. However, Chen Mu didn't expect that he would be chased for debt one day. Chen Mu looked at Lanli and said casually, "Do you know that usury is not allowed by law?" He just read yes memory and found that the organization that manages this world published usury violations, so he subconsciously said it casually. Lanli was stunned, his face turned cold, and the corners of his mouth rose. "You didn't say that when you borrowed money from me before. Are you not going to pay me back?" As soon as he finished speaking, Lanli rushed towards Chen Mu, stretched out his hand, and wanted to grab Chen Mu's collar. However, before he touched Chen Mu, his body was like sand, starting from the outstretched hand, slowly turning into gravel, and when the wind blew, the whole body turned into dust bit by bit. Lanli's pupils trembled, looking at the unbelievable scene in front of him. His pupils were full of fear and suspicion. But he didn't have time to speak, and didn't have time to make any reaction. His whole body completely turned into gravel that couldn't even be seen by the naked eye and disappeared. There were many people walking on the side of the street, and those who were walking looked at the scene in front of them, and they looked at it in astonishment. Chen Mu didn't care about the sight of the people around him at all. He just thought these people were a little barbaric. In Chen Mu's eyes, no matter how the life on this planet develops, they are just animals he raises. The reason why he teaches them technology is just to raise them better and generate more evolutionary energy for himself. As a farmer, he came to this farm to see the situation of the farm, but he didn't expect that someone would dare to do something to him. This made Chen Mu a little unhappy. Become a sea squirt larva and eat a brain first. Author, Chen Wunian. Chapter 280. Chen Mu looked at this world. The technology in this world is indeed progressing very fast. After all, this is with the help of the knowledge base and farm workers, which is not surprising. From now on, the technological progress of this world can actually be faster. If these guys put their learning to enjoy their hearts into the research of space technology, I believe they can have developed a warp engine and traveled to other planetary systems. But the lives in this world seem to have forgotten their mission and started to learn to enjoy currency, usury. These things are like the Earth civilization more than 3,000 years ago, which makes Chen Mu uncomfortable. What Chen Mu wants these guys to do is to let them grow up, let you leave the Earth, fly to other planetary systems, and go to other planetary systems to obtain evolutionary energy for yourself. But now they are staying on the Earth and learning to enjoy. Perhaps, it's time to give these lives some more power. After thinking of this, Chen Mu's consciousness left Yes body. The lives on Panga continent are still living and enjoying as usual. Technology has brought these lives rich material enjoyment and rich spiritual enjoyment. Some people have become superior people through power, wealth, and status, while those weak beings have become workers. These workers spend their lives working and earning meager wages, while those who have high-level resources can get rich material and spiritual enjoyment without doing anything every day. Those who study technology and yearn for evolution are only a small part. Such a world is not what Chen Mu wants to see. So, Chen Mu decided to make some changes to this world. Give them some motivation to let them leave the Earth and explore other worlds. Atomic creation. Use animal templates to build mechanical life. Install nanorobot cores in mechanical life. At the same time, add self-evolution ability so that they can swallow nanorobot cores and evolve themselves. Implant instructions into mechanical life forms to kill all life on the planet. As Chen Mu's voice fell, white light balls appeared one after another on the earth inside the entire earth. After the white light ball lit up, something was being constructed inside. After the construction was completed, the light ball was broken like an eggshell. One after another, mechanical creatures appeared on the ground. A lion-like mechanical creature raised its head and roared to the sky. Roar. These creatures created by atomic creation are very numerous and countless. At the same time, on the other side, a girl in military uniform, holding a long gun, pointed the muzzle at the gun handle in the shooting range. Bang bang bang. She fired several shots in succession, and each bullet passed through the bullseye. Seeing this, the girl had a proud smile on her face, and then she looked at the girl with dragon horns beside her and said with a smile, "Look." When the killer whale saw it, she smiled, "Little guy, your shooting skills have improved a lot, but the enemies on the battlefield will not stand still like these targets for you to shoot." When the girl heard it, she rolled her eyes at the killer whale and said, "I am also practicing moving targets." After saying that, the girl paused, then looked at the killer whale. "Killer whale, what do you think of my grandma's shooting skills?" "Well, basically 100% accurate." The killer whale smiled. "She learned her shooting skills from the battlefield, and learned it from the baptism of death." When the girl heard it, "Is that so? I remember that my grandma rarely held a gun." "That's for sure." The killer whale smiled and said, "When you were just born, your grandma had retired." "Oh." The killer whale looked at this girl wearing shooting glasses, wearing a military uniform, and with a sunny and energetic face, and she couldn't help but smile. After more than 2 centuries, humans have lost nanorobots. Without the support of nanorobots, humans will naturally age. Guyin, like many humans, has grown old, and the girl in front of him is called Muziade, Guyin's granddaughter. Guyin is a friend that killer whale made in this world, so killer whale often goes to see Guyin. When Guyin was still alive, killer whale often saw Muziade, the little follower, around Guyin. But after Guyin passed away, killer whale rarely saw Muziade. Until recently, Muziade followed Guyin's path and joined the army. Killer whale discovered the granddaughter of this old friend by chance, and often chatted with this little girl and helped her by the way. Watching the little girl being trained seriously, killer whale stood aside and watched quietly. Just then, boom, accompanied by a loud noise. This sound was accompanied by a loud noise. Orca was slightly startled. She turned her head and saw that the wall next to the training ground had collapsed. Through the gap in the wall, she could see a mechanical tiger-shaped mechanical body rushing in from outside. As soon as it came in, the mechanical tiger swept the people present with its red pupils. "What is this?" When the other people in the training ground saw this thing, they immediately shouted, and some of them who were closer subconsciously retreated. Suddenly, the mechanical tiger moved and pounced directly on the nearest person. Ah! The man was thrown down, and he only had time to let out a scream, and the mechanical tiger tore the man's neck in one bite. In an instant, the man died. "Shoot! Shoot quickly!" Seeing this mechanical life form killing people, people were boiling. They picked up their guns and pulled the trigger at the mechanical tiger. Bang, bang, bang. The bullets fell on the mechanical tiger and its metal body. Only a little spark could be seen, but it did not cause any damage to the mechanical tiger. Seeing this, those people's eyes were filled with disbelief. The mechanical tiger was enraged and pounced on the nearest human, knocking down one again and biting one to death. Muziade, who had been frightened and pale, saw this scene, and her face turned even paler. She suppressed her uneasiness and nausea, subconsciously aimed the gun in her hand at the mechanical tiger and pulled the trigger. "It's useless," the killer whale reminded. However, Musayede's mind was already blank. She was frightened by the scene in front of her. She knew it was useless, but at this moment her legs were weak and she couldn't even muster the strength to run away. She just subconsciously picked up the only weapon in her hand, aimed at the mechanical tiger that was gnawing at her companion, and pulled the trigger. Bang 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 bang. The bullets fell on the mechanical tiger one by one, and the mechanical tiger burst into flames. It turned its head and looked at Musayede. Its pupils were glowing red. It jumped and pounced on Musayede. Musayede's pupils were full of fear and despair, and her eyes reflected the figure of the flying mechanical tiger. Suddenly, a beautiful figure stood in front of Musayede. A long sword made of light slashed from top to bottom on the mechanical tiger. In an instant, the mechanical tiger's body was split in two. Bang! The entire body of the mechanical tiger fell to the ground. Musayede looked at the scene in front of her, stunned, and she looked at the person who spoke. The killer whale looked at Musayede, she smiled and said, "Are you okay?" Musayede looked at the lightsaber in the killer whale's hand, and then looked at the mechanical tiger that was split into two halves. She said, "What weapon is that?" "Plasma sword, a weapon made of plasma. Ordinary materials cannot withstand its attack." The killer whale waved the plasma sword in his hand and said, "I rarely use it." Musayede's eyes fell on the mechanical tiger, and suddenly, Musayede's pupils condensed slightly, and she said, "Look." When the killer whale heard it, she came back to her senses and looked back, but she saw that the mechanical tiger was split into two halves, one of which had a golden light coming out of the heart, and the light slowly rebuilt into a new body. Seeing this, the killer whale's pupils condensed slightly. Nanorobot.